Folks, during the Three Kingdoms period, Cao led a large army on a campaign. They encountered sweltering summer heat, and the soldiers were so thirsty that their throats felt parched, even unable to keep walking. Cao, quick-witted in his urgency, said, "There is a plum grove ahead." Surprisingly, this immediately gave the soldiers strength. This is the amazing story behind the idiom. The soldiers were truly at their limit from thirst. Some squatted down, sticking out their tongues, others sat right on the ground, saying, "If we don't find water soon, I can't go on." The entire army was on the verge of falling apart, and Cao watched with great anxiety. His advisor Guojia said, "If this goes on, we'll delay our march schedule." Cao reined in his horse, looked up into the distance, and thought to himself, "Pressuring the soldiers directly won't work. I need a way to give them motivation to move forward on their own." Suddenly, an idea clicked in his mind. Cao climbed onto a mound and shouted, "Soldiers, cheer up. There is a huge plum grove not far ahead." When the soldiers heard plum grove, they all looked up at him in confusion. Cao continued, "Those plums are big and sour. Take one bite, and your mouth will be filled with saliva. It'll definitely quench your thirst." At the mention of sour sweet plums, the soldiers unconsciously licked their lips. Just thinking about the plum sourness made their mouths actually water, and their throats felt less dry. Soldiers stood up and said, "Let us go quickly. I want to taste the plum sourness." Soldier got up too, saying, "With plums to eat, I have strength again." You see, just because they thought of the sour sweet plums, the soldiers really felt less thirsty and even took the initiative to rejoin the ranks, ready to continue marching. Guojia smiled and praised Cao. "Prime Minister, what a brilliant trick." The army's marching speed even picked up, and the soldiers whispered among themselves, "I wonder how big that plum grove ahead is." No one complained about thirst anymore. Their minds were filled with thoughts of the sour sweet plums. A young soldier asked a veteran, "Are the plums sour?" The veteran replied, "Of course. One bite makes your mouth pucker from the sourness. You can't stop the saliva." The more the soldiers listened, the more they looked forward to it, and the more saliva filled their mouths. Their throats, which had felt parched before, were actually relieved of thirst. At this moment, the guide said, "Take the left fork ahead. There'll be a stream in half an hour." Cao immediately gave an order, "Speed up. We'll rest and drink water at the stream." When the soldiers heard stream, they grew even more excited. With both the anticipation of plums and the hope of the stream, their steps became lighter. Half an hour later, the army finally reached the stream. The soldiers rushed over, cupping water with their hands to drink and scooping it with their helmets. Their faces were full of contented smiles. The sweet, clear stream water tasted even more refreshing than plums, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Guojia asked Cao, "The plum grove was a delaying tactic, wasn't it?" Cao nodded with a smile. "Yes. We couldn't find a water source then, so I had to use the thought of plums to make the soldiers salivate, ease their thirst, and help them hold on until we got here." It turned out Cao had never even seen a plum grow from the start. This was just a clever trick he'd come up with in his urgency. Soldier A said, "Even though we didn't get to eat plums, just thinking about their sourness quenched my thirst." Soldier B added, "If the Prime Minister hadn't talked about the plum grove, I wouldn't have made it to the stream." Everyone understood. The plum grove was fake. After setting up camp in the evening, the generals all praised Cao. The trick was brilliant. Cao said, "In the art of war, winning the hearts of men comes first. When soldiers have something to look forward to, they naturally gain the motivation to move forward." That night, the soldiers sat around the campfire. Someone said, "Today, I thought about plums the whole way. My mouth was watering non-stop." Everyone laughed and said, "Next time we're thirsty, we'll just think about plums." Later, it became an idiom. Originally, it referred to relieving thirst by thinking of plums. Later, it came to mean using an illusion or expectation to encourage oneself or others to keep going.